You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Dean. Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, and streaming live on Ustream, this is AFTERBUZZ TV for Glee. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest Glee news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, picking up where the show leaves off and the buzz continues, it's AFTERBUZZ TV for Glee.
What's up, Glee? I'm Roxy Striar. Hello. And along with my co-host, Billy Nilles.
Hi.
Hello, how are you tonight?
I'm doing good.
And, of course, Mia Smith.
Hello.
Hello. And in the booth, we have the wonderful DJ Jesse Janity.
Hello.
That was a very seductive hello.
I like it.
Okay, I have to start off by saying, so I've been a little bit of stalking us on iTunes and our AfterBuzz and our Ustream and trying to figure out what fans are thinking, because I want people to be calling in and I want people to be emailing us and I want people to be telling us. And I've got to say that we're getting some complaints about saying that we don't love this show.
I saw that too on iTunes. Yeah.
We don't love this show. And I've got to say, we love this frickin' show.
We do.
I have a Glee t-shirt.
we love this show, and because we hold it in such a high regard,
We hold it to a standard.
we hold it to a standard. Fortunately, hopefully we're not going to complain this episode, because I loved this episode.
Had a great time.
It was awesome.
Yes.
It grew and it grew and it grew and kept getting stronger for me, and I really thought it was a great episode. Same page?
Yes.
Yeah, there was so much music, but there was still so much story too. A lot of times with the show, when there's so many songs, not that much happens because they're putting together all these numbers, but there was still so much plotline. But there was a lot of music this week as well.
Yeah.
Which it kind of reminded me,
Well spread
like
out.
yes, it reminded me of like the first season when they used the songs to further the story.
Yes.
You know, and it wasn't
Definitely.
just empty songs or people performing. It went with something.
And that's when we can really connect to the emotions, because that's what music does for me. When I'm watching something, even if it's not Glee, and there's music in the background and it's helping you push the story and helping you get to the place emotionally where they want you to be, it's like that's how art works. They want you eating out of the palm of their hand. They want you feeling the way you want to feel. They want you to feel, and that's what this did for me this episode. So, yeah, and also just a point, call us. If you are thinking, screw that, that's not true. I thought this week was awesome. Call us and say, you guys,
Yeah, call us out.
I don't believe you with this. Da, da, da. I'm sure you won't sound like that.
No, probably not.
That wasn't me imitating yours voices. Trust me, mine's just as annoying. I know, but I'm saying, call us and disagree with us or agree with us, whatever it is. But I can't have a discussion with you through iTunes.
Yeah.
So
This is true.
So let us know
Call us,
what you
tweet
guys are
us.
thinking.
Yes,
Whatever
you
you
can
want.
definitely tweet us.
100%. You can tweet at us, whatever it is. Quickly, everybody's Twitter handles.
Oh, okay. Mine is just Mia23. That's JUSTMIA, the number 2, the number 3.
Billy Nellis _duh. That's pretty easy.
Awesome, and
that.
I'm just Roxy Striar. Okay, so let's move on to this episode that we did really like. Just quickly talking about the elections to start. So we've got 2 different elections going on. Right now I'm actually talking about the student elections.
Okay.
So there were these random candidates that we didn't know. The puck chuck. No, what was it?
hockey player,
Rick
something.
something.
Rick
Rick
the
the stick.
Stick.
Rick the Stick.
I'm like, chuck the puck. No, that's not it.
No.
Rick the stick. Yeah, so that was good logic that our tax dollars go to that and that we should teach the teachers. Is that the way it should work?
Well, clearly he was an idiot.
Yeah.
I think it was brilliant. That was some serious Britney knowledge right there. Okay, so what do we think about Rachel deciding to drop out, and if that was well dealt with?
Yeah, I thought it was great for. It was nice to see Rachel not just think about Rachel.
Right. And it was nice because in the beginning of this season, we saw how strong the friendship with Kurt was getting, and that was so quickly taken away. And like Rachel missed it. I missed seeing that. I missed having her have a friend besides Finn.
Yeah.
Seeing her be able to interact with somebody else, which they're not just arguing or sort of making fun of her all of the time. So, I mean, the minute that she was talking to Shelby, and Shelby, said that no one else had enough credentials like she did to get into the school, I knew that she was going to withdraw, or that she was going to do something.
Oh, you called that so far away. We were sitting there watching that, and as Shelby's telling Rachel, like, oh, your credentials are great, nobody else is going to get in without the stuff you have, you kind of see Rachel's face drop. And me and I are like,
why is she so sad?
What? That was a compliment. And immediately you pulled it out.
Yeah, I just knew that she realized that meant that Kurt didn't have anything because he didn't have a good role in the musical. So she knew that she couldn't take everything.
Subtle things like that make her a really great actress, the reading between the lines and what the character would actually feel, because it's easy to think at that time, oh, she's complimenting me. But really what that means and the way the human mind works, how it would actually work for you is everything that you're actually thinking about. So even if it went over my head at the time,
same here.
The brilliant people like you understand. So,
thank you.
So way to go, Leah Michelle.
And that was such a good point she made, too, when she was talking to him. She was like, it wasn't just my dream to go here, the whole dream was that you would be with me.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I love that.
Which is kind of what he tried to call her out on in the beginning, and was like, listen, you're going to be at the top, but it's going to be lonely as hell.
Yeah.
And is that worth it? Which is a constant struggle, because how many people can you really bring to the top with you when you're all just stepping on each other's toes? It does help that they're opposite sexes, because I just can't see Rachel Berry having a best female friend ever.
Probably not.
Really, all competition. Even though their voices sound more similar than hers would with most other people. No, I'm just kidding. Love both their voices. So, okay, so what else do we think about the elections, and what do we think about Brittany going versus Kurt from this point on, and how they're playing, and is it fair, and Topless Tuesdays, which sounds like a great idea to me. I'm just throwing that out there. Can we do that here at AfterBuzz? Jesse?
Jesse.
Topless Tuesdays?
Yep, starting next week.
That's perfect.
Great.
So on Glee next week, hands in, everybody.
There's no episode next
Roxy,
week,
that's
so
all
come
you.
back next week for Topless Tuesday. We'll not be here.
We will not be here.
Stay tuned for not being here Topless Tuesday. That's perfect. No, but seriously, okay, what do we think about these elections and the two of them going against each other? And
I think it's going to be interesting. I think that, last week we saw that Rachel was polling #1 according to whatever poll.
Which
so I do think it's
seemed like a
interesting.
stretch.
It did, but if that is accurate for her to throw her weight behind Kurt now, I do think it's interesting to see what that will do for him running against Brittany. As much as I love Brittany, I can't really see her winning. For some reason, I don't actually.
Which is weird, because a couple episodes ago we did see her winning.
Yeah. And now they're
so what
making her like
changed?
even sillier.
It was her. Well, for me, it was her speech, because I was pro Brittany being president, and because I like the way she thinks, but I thought her different view on the world would be an asset to her, and during her speech, I didn't see that anymore. Not the whole let's make tornadoes illegal.
It was like a joke that I don't think worked.
Yeah, I
people-
didn't feel it.
Did you guys have high school elections?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the people who go up
High
on
school
stage,
what? I'm sorry.
elections,
Oh yeah.
people who go up with the script in their hand and look down, and I know that they're probably nervous, but read verbatim what it is. It's just like the least passionate thing of all time.
Right.
Yes.
It's like, how do you really believe this? And I wanted Brittany to get up there and be like, this is what's wrong, and a little sidetrack, and da-da-da, and I'm going to do this, and Topless Tuesdays, and Lucky Charms for everybody, and I'm making this
Exactly.
whatever it is, parades on Mondays, and whatever she was going to say. But she got up there and was like, there's murderers out there, and I'm going to protect us. Completely monotone, while Santana's in the audience, like, nodding, like, you go, Brittany, you go. What a disappointment.
Completely.
Yeah.
Like, she kicked off her campaign with "Run the World." How do you kick off your campaign that way?
Yeah, I don't know.
And then end like
read
this.
She like lost sight
Yeah.
of what she was trying to do.
Yeah.
What do we think about this Kurt trying to eliminate dodgeball as what he said during his campaign speech? I felt personally that it was a little random because other than today's episode where we see the big dodgeball game, it made it seem like at McKinley High there is a huge dodgeball thing.
Oh, yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Have we seen another dodgeball?
I don't believe so.
He was like, it's this huge form of bullying. I understood what he was saying.
Yeah.
If that was a thing at McKinley, but Glee does this sometimes. I'm nervous to bash on the show at all even right now.
Feel free.
But,
I agree with you.
But Glee does do this sometimes. But yeah, screw that. That's what we're supposed to do here. We're supposed to tear it apart. That they just throw something in there that I'm like, well, that didn't really make sense. And I get why. I think that you guys wish episode 1 you put in a dodgeball game and there had been a bunch since then, but you didn't. So
Yeah.
don't make that his platform.
Yeah.
I agree with you. He could have referenced it and just focused on the whole no bullying thing.
Yeah, no
and that's
bullying. It's like when Santana last time had the bullying police that she started with Krofsky. He could have done something more extreme like that, brought that to a new level, or had a rule about gym sports just in general, where the competition ends, or whatever. But to make this huge deal of probably nobody in the audience knew what he was talking about. They were like, oh, I didn't know this
exactly.
I didn't know this is a huge problem. Why would I vote for you? I didn't even know we were having an issue. So, I mean, other than that, I think that we're just going to have to wait and see how the elections go. But as of now, you guys want Kurt to win?
I do. I want
I
Kurt
really
to
do.
win.
It's so weird because we were sitting here really wanting Brittany to win.
Well, she disappointed me, and just
was
like
all
with
about the
elections, what election do you know that a lot of times doesn't come down to the speech.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, half the times you don't pay attention to anything else that a person does, but how they deliver themselves or in a debate, like those things weigh heavily.
Yeah, definitely.
And she
And
goes for it.
I want Kurt to succeed and be able to have the sort of resume that will get him into the school, and so that's why I want him to
we
win.
want the two of them to get into the school, both of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do. I
Okay.
want them both to. I don't want them to. We've already done. I feel like it'd be really lazy for them to have another argument somewhere down the line this season and then them not be friends again. Like we've already done that. They're back to being friends. I feel like that from here on out, that needs to just be a solid friendship that doesn't go away.
Yeah, I agree.
And focus the drama elsewhere, but let them be a solid force. And to do that, I do think we do need to see them both working on that goal to get to NIADA and battling the other people from outside of their school together rather than apart.
Okay. Words of wisdom.
I
Well
know.
spoken.
Thank you for that, Billy.
On a completely separate note, I wanted to talk a little bit about Puck's relationship with Shelby. So we were kind of pissed last week because 2 weeks ago we see them kiss.
The kiss.
And then the next week, it's just not addressed at all. And then I was so freaking happy that they picked up tonight's episode talking about it.
Yeah, that
because
they
I was like,
mentioned
if it just never goes mentioned again, I might cry. If they just never talked about it ever again, well, that happened, all right, whatever. But they do, and they talk about it, and I've got to say, from my eyes, it seems mutual right now.
It is, and you can
Yes,
tell
completely.
that she's fighting it though.
She's fighting
because
it.
it's clearly inappropriate.
Completely.
Was it bad that I kind of felt the
That's
chemistry
the problem
a
is
little
that I feel
now?
it too, and
It was there.
I don't want to feel it.
No,
It was there.
there's that whole thing. He is of age. Realistically, they could have legally they can have a relationship if they want.
Well, except for she's a teacher.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know what the laws are about. She's like, I'm a teacher. He's like, well, you're a substitute teacher.
No, she would get fired.
Yeah, she would definitely get fired, but it's not
Illegal.
Illegal.
No, she would just lose her job.
Yeah.
But I think that seeing Puck we're really seeing him mature. And so surprisingly, it's so wonderful to see him with his kid in his life, what it's doing for him. And it's hard because I don't know, I'm as obviously as icky and sort of inappropriate as it is, I am kind of rooting for that coupling.
But
which is a problem.
Yeah.
the point though, when I was like, it kind of, I feel like they're trying to veer us away from it and show how he's not mature, was when he was like, let me read you the list of reasons that I love you. You're hot. I'm hot.
I'm hot.
And that's when I was
Right.
like, but then he goes, and Bethany needs a dad.
Right.
And I'm perfect for it. And I was like, I can't tell. Do they want us to want this couple? Do they not?
Well,
am
I think
supposed to?
I think that needs to be left to question. I think they can't make it too, like, firm one way or the other.
Right.
And I also think that Puck still needs to have those characteristics. He is still an 18-year-old kid. As mature as he is, he's still Puck, and he still would make a list like that no matter how mature he is or as mature as he's getting. But I do think that him sort of coming forward and, you know, telling Shelby what Quinn was trying to do and really letting her know, I think outweighs and the silly list or him singing Hall for Teacher, because that was him really stepping up and be like, look, you need to be aware that she's trying to do this and you're meant to be with this kid. Like, we gave her life. That whole speech that he had towards the end where he said, you know, Quinn and I gave her life, but she was meant to be with you. She was clearly meant to be your kid.
Yeah.
And that was like, okay, there's more to him now than just the silliness.
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason why it's kind of hard to root against them. Like, you want to, because it's like, teacher, student, no, that's wrong. But one, they do have chemistry, and it's so weird to watch and see because it's happening in the school. And then two, you know, he's a good dad. Like, Beth likes him. You know, even when Quinn went there to help watch her, you know, she cried in Quinn's arms, yelled. Yeah. She likes Puck.
And I think that's also an issue is regardless of Puck and Shelby's chemistry, whatever, they're always going to be in each other's lives. I mean, no matter what, realistically, they're going to be. She is the adopted mother of his biological daughter who he wants to have contact with. Yeah. So regardless, they have to figure it out because they're sort of stuck together.
And she needs to help too.
Yeah.
Well, we see the conversation though. I'm trying to think logistically. We see the conversation where he says to her that he wants to be with her and she says no, but we didn't see them talk about the kiss at all.
Well, she did say the kiss was a mistake.
Exactly.
It was a mistake.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
wrote that down. And then that's when he said, I'm in love with you right after.
Right. Okay.
And I was kind of like, oh, we're that far ahead. Okay.
Yeah. And then what do you think is the deal with Quinn right now? And because we're saying that he did tell her, is she still seeking? She has this whole conversation with Shelby, and Shelby's like, this is a wake-up call. Wake up. And Quinn reminded me in this episode that Shelby was not so different from Quinn at Quinn's age. So is she being very hypocritical, or is this tough love, or what's going on?
I think it's tough love, her protecting herself and her daughter, and Quinn is not going to stop.
No. But I do think, though, that there are some major differences. I think that when Shelby gave Rachel up, she clearly didn't go back and try and do these awful things that Quinn is trying to do. And so there was, while she was in her place. She did
give her up in a different way.
Right.
What did Quinn say? Money like a whore bag?
Yeah. Well, that was obviously completely low blow.
Super mean.
So she was in a separate place, and now she's overcome these hurdles. And I feel like she's trying to push Quinn.
This is her. Well.
Yeah, I think she wants more from her, and she thought she was getting it until she found out about the whole, you know, scheming that Quinn was doing, and that's when she called her out. Like, you may take the piercing out and dye your hair back, but
you're still just as lost.
Yeah.
That was the line that stuck out for me. You're still just as lost.
And that was clearly the line that stuck with Quinn. As we watched her face, she knows that she is.
She didn't even say in that moment, "No, I'm not."
Yeah, no. She just walked away because she can't argue.
What do you
with
say?
It.
And I want Quinn to find herself.
I do too.
I'm getting so emotional about it.
I do too, but I don't think that it's with the baby.
Yeah. No. So what do we think she's missing?
No, she's missing love. She's missing love.
You think it's love?
I definitely think so.
From what?
I don't think it's like romantic love.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think she needs a man.
She doesn't have like any sort of connection to anybody at the moment.
A best friend?
She doesn't have anything. She doesn't have
friend, family.
I mean, the last time we saw it, I think that her mom was on her side, but we don't really see anything with her mom anymore.
Yeah.
I just feel like she's just sort of lost and completely untethered. She has no one like holding on to her.
Right. Yeah. That is what I meant by love. Like not a boyfriend, but just that
she needs someone that's
someone that cares for her unconditionally.
Well,
that's there.
That it's hard because I feel like the only way you can really be loved is if you love yourself.
Exactly.
A lot of times, and it's really hard to find somebody else to take interest in you if you clearly don't care about yourself. And I don't know where you find the strength to figure out how to do that. Whether she needs to find something she's incredibly passionate about and stick to that instead of just always saying that she's going to be stuck in this town and that this is her life and settling for that. I don't know, but I hope she finds it.
Yeah, I think that that's really going to be her storyline this season as it continues. I mean, I feel like that has to be where it's going to go. You know, she's a senior. We're going to see her struggle with what she's going to do, where she's going to go next, what her next step is. If she doesn't leave Lima, what is she going to do in Lima that's going to fulfill her? But yeah, like you said, she's clearly she's not in love with herself, and that's the first thing that needs to come. Is Quinn needs to sort of just accept the things about herself that are there that she needs to work on and not push them away and ignore them, because I think that she blames everything on everybody else. Nothing is really Quinn's fault to Quinn.
Yeah.
And I think that's the first thing, is her accepting all the stuff that she's done, taking the responsibility for all the sort of nasty things that she's been doing for the past couple of episodes, and realizing that it's you know, it starts within before anything outside can change.
Definitely.
I totally agree. And I really don't want Glee to cheat this. You know, I want her to have this storyline and really have time to
not it just
go
like
into
randomly
it.
Gets better. And,
Like, I want to dig into it.
They've dedicated a lot of time to Quinn. I do think that. Seasons worth of time showing the struggle that a teenage girl can go through when she's like this, you know. She's gone through a lot of crap.
Yeah,
and I like that her character, not that I like that her character's not okay, but it's realistic that her character's not okay. She shouldn't be okay right now. If she just woke up one day and was like, oh, I lost my kid, my parents aren't supporting me, I don't have friends, I have no boyfriend, but whatever. We'd be like, no, that's not true. Okay, so moving on, just because I want to cover this episode, talking about the dodgeball game a little bit here. Speaking of gruesome, bad things going on, geez, this was a horrific game.
Yeah, it was.
The one dodgeball game that we do see in Glee's history, that makes it so that Kurt doesn't want any more. So,
I'm just gonna cut you off for just 1 second. Where did the Trouble Tones get their extra girls?
Yeah.
And were you supposed to accept them
the
this
Britney
episode?
lookalike. Who was that blonde girl that looked identical to Britney that just stands a couple inches behind her the entire time?
They're clearly Cheerios. I mean, Cheerios are always somehow dancing with everybody. So
and she kind of keeps looking at the camera too, and then looking away. And I'm like, oh, honey. But yeah, so wherever they got them, they got them. And so we've got an intense dodgeball game going on. Yeah. Who did you guys think was going to win?
The Trouble Tones.
The Trouble Tones?
Yeah, I do think that they're going to keep, not just with the dodgeball, but as we saw also with the mash-off, that they have an edge. They do have an edge over New Directions, in the same way that a lot of the other show cards have always had an edge over New Directions, because, you know, these kids are in New Directions. They're the reason they lost last year, because they're not they don't really focus on their music as much as everyone else who has ever competed does. So I think it's interesting that consistently we see that these kids are put in their place by their adversaries almost all the time. Yeah. They're always sort of
very good point.
Put there.
This new trio though is freaking killing it.
Yeah.
Just even their look with their walking, their intensity, and like you're saying, their focus, their concentration, it's like that look stares you down, and when you're focused that much and you want something so bad, nobody can beat you. Nobody can take that from you, because that's what it comes down to. I mean, I know it sounds stupid, but who wants it more is such a big factor.
Right.
Yes. And these people have something to prove, and New Directions are kind of like being slapped.
They're always there's been like this complacency with New Directions, where they all sort of think that they're so amazing that they don't push. They don't push themselves really ever. I mean, really, they don't.
Like, question for you guys. Who's in charge of the Trouble Tones?
Shelby. Miss Corcoran.
So, now I know we've been talking a lot about, oh my gosh, why can't I even think of her name? Jane's character.
Sue
Sylvester. I don't even know how I can forget that.
That's because you're not watching the show with us.
I know. Sue's character, we've been kind of like, well, she always has to play this mean Grinch type character.
I see where
and
you're
it's
going.
funny that Billy, you just mentioned that, you know, they don't have direction. You know, they're kind of lost. Do you think for this, because it's kind of, this is going to be like kind of a big season finale for them, maybe bringing Sue in to help New Directions, because we've always known that with the Cheerios have always been number one.
Yeah.
Sue knows how to run a team when it comes down to it. So, and they usually like to have Sue have some sort of, you know, uplifting moment within each season. Thoughts on that?
The only reason why I don't is because with Sue's whole storyline of running her campaign as anti-arts, I don't see that she would try and help anything that has
Unless
to
she's
do-
trying to make up for what just happened to Santana.
Yeah.
Or something like that. But I don't think she would ever align herself in the New Directions. The Trouble Tones, on the other hand.
Yeah, I could see her
I
wanting
could
to
see
help them.
her trying to help them just because she hates Will so much.
Yeah,
Right.
I could definitely see that.
And because she's a loose cannon.
Yeah.
But before we were talking about, what was it? I was going to bring
Dodgeball. Oh.
I was going to bring Jesse St. James up for some reason. Oh, we were talking about them not wanting it, being kind of complacent. And do you guys remember that episode where they were all trying to get the solo and Mercedes sang, and Jesse looked at her and was like, "You sound amazing, but
Do you practice?
do you practice?"
Yeah.
And she looked at him and was like, "I don't need to practice. I feel it." And he was like,
That's great,
That's
but-
great, and I feel it too. And you're awesome, and you've got attitude and whatever. But if you don't rehearse, you're not the best you can be.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's so true. And like, honestly, in that episode, we were supposed to kind of feel for Mercedes and feel different artists have different kind of
Ways of-
techniques. But
yeah.
I've never been if you don't do your homework,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you're not the best.
And I mean, you can read interviews with any successful recording artist. Anyone, they don't just stumble upon it and just go live and have it. It's consistent work. I mean, when I was in choir in high school, the songs that we did for our competitions were the songs that we sang every day nonstop. It wasn't like you picked it up the week before and you went to competition with that. You spent a semester or so working on those 3 songs.
Because you suck at them at first, even if you're good at them, because you can be better.
consistently can get better and tighter, and it's all about getting better and better, not just being like, oh, we sounded good, so good.
I understand wanting to stay fresh on something, so not overkilling it, not rehearsing it to death, but you can't just say you don't practice because it makes you worse. That's not true. I really don't believe it.
Always makes you better. But work ethic in general, it always, in the end, it outwins talent.
Yeah, definitely.
It does. And that's something that Glee, what's the name of their group?
New Direction.
Yes, that's what they're missing. Like they showed it in the finale last year. They waited till the night before to come up with their song.
Yeah.
And that's why they lost. It wasn't just the
And
kids.
everybody was so pissed that they lost, and I was like, yeah,
It's realistic.
it's realistic. And did you see the other performances? They were better.
And none of them stopped to kiss. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, you would lose. Like every competition I've ever been in, that would not gain you points. That
No.
would detract.
You would lose just like they did, and they lost. Again, not because I don't love the New Directions. I love the New Directions, but something's got to focus them, and we've always seen that they are driven by competition. So I do like that they're going against Trouble Tones right
Right,
now.
that they have this constant competition who's always in their face because it's at the same school.
Exactly.
It'll keep their game tighter.
But in terms of the dodgeball, what did we think about that scene where they pummeled Rory?
That was kind of awful.
Unnecessary.
It was Santana
Why?
was
What
like
happened? Yeah.
Santana was just teetering on the edge of stopping being funny and being nasty, mean to the point where you don't like it anymore.
She's doing the exact same thing that Karofsky did, which is bullying and bullying and bullying because you have something to hide.
right.
Yep.
And you feel like if you're always on the offense, you never have to be on the defense.
Yeah.
And at the beginning, Finn tried to call her out for all these things and was saying, "Oh well," basically yo mama jokes, and it's like she's like, "Oh, I had a hard life. I lived with my grandma, and this doesn't get to me.
I
Whatever."
didn't know my name wasn't Garbage Face.
Yes.
Yeah.
Before.
Exactly.
She tried to sell me. I was like, what?
But then we finally see him get to her.
Yeah.
What did you guys think about this? And okay, so basically, Finn looks at her and was like, she's tearing him apart. She's not just saying one thing. She's tearing him apart about he's going to lose. He doesn't have a good voice. He's not talented. He's fat. He's ugly. He wasn't good in bed. Like, absolutely shredding him. But nothing new. Things that she's always said to him.
Yeah.
That's very much like her.
Yeah, and then he just
And for the
lost
first
it.
time-
He was done.
He loses it and says, and I don't even know if he meant it at the time or if it was just the first insult he could think of or if he really believed that she was gay, but he says, why don't you just come out of the closet everyone knows you're in love with Brittany and that you're scared that she's not going to love you back.
Yeah.
I think that last part it's hard enough to call her out and
It's
like,
like
yo, you're gay,
daggers.
but then the person you're in love with, you're scared that she
like
doesn't love you
stab
back.
and
It's
then
just like,
twist it.
oh,
Stab it and
yes.
twist it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I was like, oh my God.
And then dumping a little salt in it.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it
It
is.
was rough all around because on one hand, you're like, okay, she deserved it. She's been like an unrepentant bitch
Yeah,
for the past
I feel
40
like
minutes.
a bitch, but that's what I said. I go, she had that coming. She had it
And
coming.
then, on the other hand, though, that's such a. It's weird to say that there's like levels of bullying that are like some are defensible and some are indefensible.
Yeah.
And they're like the things that she was saying to Finn obviously are nasty and horrendous and no one should do to anybody, but they're not like dangerous secrets. Whereas what Finn did was lay out, whether he knew it to be true or not, a secret that is still today dangerous for people in high school in the Midwest to have thrown around. And so
because somebody could hear and something could happen.
Right.
Which is what happened.
and that's what it's you're like, okay, she deserved something. She deserved her comeuppance, but that was almost too much. It was it went over the line, even though she was already over. It was just a complicated situation all around.
Nothing was affecting her, so he kind of. I feel like he didn't have a choice in order to shut her up. Like, what was he supposed to do to get her off his back?
Right. He had nothing else. I don't know
didn't.
if it just resonates differently with me being gay and knowing how scary that would be.
Right, and I don't disagree at all.
Yeah.
I think it's really messed up. I just don't know what
else he could
was
have done.
supposed to do.
No, I completely agree. It was just a shitty situation.
Yeah,
all
or
the
a
way around.
crappy situation. I mean, there's not. He could make fun of her appearance. He could make fun of her family. He could make fun of her schooling. Whatever
But
it was.
she would have just came back with another insult.
Nothing. It's the only thing. But on that point, do we think that he knew?
I think he did because
yeah.
at the end when she yelled at him at the very end and he said everyone in the school already knew. It seemed like people knew it but weren't saying it.
How come we've never seen any like? Pss, pss, pss?
Another.
Thank you, Glee. Where's the dodgeball? Where's the
It's another
whispers?
dodgeball.
Yeah, I mean, I had no idea that anybody else had an idea.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think they would have shown it either because Santana
It wouldn't have
is
been as
captain
big of a
of
shock either.
the Cheerios and she's a hard ass. Like who's going to really challenge Santana?
Yeah.
Unless you want to get burned. You know?
And I think
Yeah.
it also it needed to be that shock that he knew. Like
So we think he deserved that at the end.
the slap at the end.
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
I mean, before we get to that, Jesus Christ, we had the song of a lifetime. I was like chilling, like straight up goosebumps covering from head to toes. That performance was incredible.
It was so good.
And you know who outshined Mercedes was Santana.
Santana was
Santana owned it.
amazing.
Face was so fierce that I just looking at. We've never seen her act that way ever. Her eyes, she was so focused and kick ass. Like that was the moment. The entire episode. The episode was probably a 7, and this brought it to a freaking 10
Yes,
in a
it did.
minute for me.
Yes, it
Like
did.
I was sitting there like, damn.
I was sold. I was sold.
I couldn't even write anything. I literally was just like
I was
mouth
just
agape
stuck.
staring at the TV screen.
Yeah, go ahead.
I love Santana's voice. I always have, but hearing her tonight and watching her and the way she walked, the way she moved, it was just
Oh
like,
my
oh my!
God.
It was
so
She is
forceful.
so good. She's
So good.
There was so much force behind her, but it was still so sad at the same time
Yes.
too, because you could see just how broken she was by what had just happened by that commercial that she saw.
And because sometimes it hurts instead, and that's what
Yeah.
she like looking at her saying that.
And then she looked at Brittany while she was singing,
Yeah.
and Brittany was just in the song, just singing. And it was just like, oh, she missed it. She missed it.
That's what was weird for me. This is kind of how I judge the Glee songs. There are the songs that you watch and you don't bop your head to because, and you don't sing along because they're not good. Then there are the songs that you are obsessed with and you sing every word to. And then there are the songs that the performance is so good that you don't sing because you just want to hear them. You
Yeah.
know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yes.
And that's what this was for me.
Yeah.
It was one of those moments that shut me the F up.
Yes,
and
it did.
And I was like, I'm not singing a word because, oh my God, this is pure brilliance. And I have a bad voice, so I don't want to hear myself right now. And we all three just sat there in silence like, oh.
Just like this.
Like,
Yeah.
oh my God.
And it's Adele is such a hard artist to top. And I'm not to say that they topped her because I don't think anyone can top Adele at Adele's
Not
game,
topping,
but they matched her.
Yeah.
And she's hard to even match because her voice is just so. so intense. But those two, I mean, it was one of the best sounding recordings that Glee's ever
Like
produced.
going home and downloading it on
Oh,
iTunes.
completely.
Without a doubt. Like, it really was one of the best.
And the mashup was
clearest
great.
sounded. Yeah, it worked so well together. It was just top notch.
It was amazing. The best mashup. Well,
And they buried New Directions Hall
buried.
Oates
They
mashup.
didn't stand a
Well,
chance.
that wasn't that hard to beat. I was a
No.
little disappointed by that, but glad because of the comparing them side by side. It was like, come on.
Going back to the fact that they did do Adele this episode, I was hesitant because they did Adele before and it wasn't, well, to me,
It wasn't.
Right.
That
It wasn't good.
That's what I'm saying.
It
It's
was-
so hard to
it
match
was
that.
really, and I love that song, and I was just like, it failed miserably for me. And this time around, like, they conquered 2 Adele songs, mashed them up in the most genius way.
Like,
it was amazing.
Why was it? Was it Santana that made it so good, or what was
Yes.
it?
Yes.
It was.
Yes.
As great as Mercedes sounded, and I
she was
think we
great.
knew
She
it,
was
but
good.
Santana hands down was the reason why that what the character was going through, and then what the actress brought to it. It all.
I can't think of
And
another
actually-
moment she brought that intensity before.
I really can't either.
And then the way it started when they moved back, it was a whole group thing and all
The
black
choreography
and
was
all of
really good.
That, oh my
The
gosh.
whole thing was just great.
We're all sitting here kind of like repicturing it, reliving
I know,
it.
we're watching it.
I can just like feel them like.
Oh, that was
You
so
can see
good.
all our eyes moving.
Yes.
I'm going to watch that on repeat
I
at
know.
home. Oh my
What
God.
I think is what was so weird to me too, just speaking of this whole mash off thing that they did, was it weird that they didn't do them on the same day? Have you ever noticed when they
Yeah.
do that a lot?
They do that a lot.
In Glee, like there's supposed
Just
to be a
to kinda
competition, but it
separate
takes
the
place the day later.
songs.
And I get that, but I'm like, why would they wait a couple of days to let the other
When
group?
people practice more.
Yeah.
It's bizarre. But
If
they
they
would
can-
do like boys versus girls, and it's like, okay, we'll do this week, you do next week. It's like,
Yeah.
what? I would definitely complain about that.
Yeah.
Whatever. Dramatic license, I suppose. I think that pretty much covers the episode. Any other comments here or there?
Oh, just that slap was intense and it was perfect coming off of that song.
Yeah.
It was perfect, and just that scene. I mean, as that scene beforehand when she was called into Sue's office.
Oh.
And Sue and Will and Bert were there.
Yeah.
Was so sad with the way she didn't understand what was going on and what they were talking about, and then when it was revealed, it really like broke my heart, because how awful to be outed like on national or local television in a camp. Ugh, the worst.
Yeah.
Just the saddest and the worst.
And like
thing.
the only person she ever had to hear that she was gay from was Brittany, and so to hear it from adults and then also to see it, it was just like,
I was really proud of her in that moment, though, that that happened, and she didn't go, I'm not gay.
yes,
She said, I haven't even told my family.
Yeah.
She's ready to come out.
Yeah.
She just hasn't yet. And she should be able to do that by herself.
Yeah.
That's why it was so sad to me, was that she was almost there.
Yeah,
you
but now
know?
she's been forced to do it. It's not
Yeah.
at her timeline anymore.
And she'll never be able to forgive Finn or anybody or what. And not even,
No.
I mean, it was Finn's fault, but of course that wasn't his intentions. Those
Right.
weren't his intentions. And I think she has a really hard road coming ahead of her.
Yeah.
I
Definitely.
think so too.
Sucks. Okay, so let's hit a commercial and come back for news and gossip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The biggest new media platform on the web just got bigger. More bandwidth, smoother streaming, lightning fast download.
Don't get technical with me.
AfterBuzz TV is making the jump to hyperspace. Join the fun at your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Look at the size of that thing.
AfterBuzz TV.
Welcome back.
Oh, I was just waiting for Jesse to hit it with the news and gossip there.
I love the sound effects here.
Oh, wah, wah.
AfterBuzz TV News.
I like a little introduction when we come back from a commercial break.
Oh, I'm sorry.
just
Next
playing.
time you want me. And now in the DJ booth, DJ Jesse
All right,
Janity.
we'll skip that one next week. All
I'm
right,
not a good DJ.
so Leah Michelle is you're the best. Leah Michelle is detailing all her ups and downs on her road to fame in Allure's December issue. Of the part of the topics covered are her weight and her road to success. After people whispered about the potential of her having an eating disorder, Michelle says, quote, "People get confused. Like, I eat grass." She jokes about her vegan diet. "I'm half Italian. I can eat some bit under the table." She goes on to describe how many actresses before her had to overcome hurdles. She did as well. "When I was 15, my mother and I went to meet a manager who said, 'You have to get a nose job in order for me to work with you.' My mother would say to me, 'Barbara Streisand never got a nose job. You're not getting a nose job.' And this was before I really even knew who Barbara was. I just knew that she was like the messiah for girls like me."
Does this remind anybody of a Glee episode?
Yes.
Yes, completely.
Is Leah Michelle Rachel Berry?
Yeah.
They are the
Pretty
same
much.
person. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
I never knew that there were whispers about her having an eating disorder, but she
me
did
neither.
drop a ton of weight. But
Did she? I didn't even notice.
I do think,
I think
so.
she has.
Well, I
She's
don't know
gotten
because
skinnier.
it's hard to see because she
think
her
her
face
I
isn't
think her-
as skinny and her but
I think her wardrobe has changed too.
remember that episode we saw
Okay.
her on the treadmill killing it, and I was like, damn, this girl's skinny.
Yeah, and I mean she is
She's
a vegan,
fit,
so
yeah.
there's really nothing bad going into her body.
Yeah.
So it stand to reason that she's fairly thin.
Yeah. She's
'Cause
eating grass.
You can eat
And
as
stuff.
much
She's eating
meat-
grass.
You can eat as much salad as you want. I don't think you're gonna get that.
I like that
Not
though.
really, no.
Well, if I was a vegan, they can eat pasta, yeah? Because I would be eating mad carbs.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah, they can.
Certain kinds, I believe, right?
Yeah.
But that what is that? She says I can eat bitches under the table. Awesome.
Well, yeah, if you're eating lettuce, bitch. So Jane Lynch spoke with E! at Saturday's anniversary feat for the LA Gay and Lesbian Center, where she came to the defense of director Brett Ratner over his recent gay slur. "I feel bad for him," said Lynch. "I wasn't offended. I'm okay." Ratner stepped down from his Oscar-producing job last week after word got out that he said rehearsals for fags. When asked about preparations for the telecast, Lynch acknowledged that this, as mean-spirited as the word comes off, Ratner was just making an attempt at a joke. "I think humor is such a personal thing, and you put your microphone in someone's face." She said they're going to say something like that, something that offends somebody. Lynch is among a very small crop of Hollywood types to say anything in Ratner's defense. She joins his friend and Tower Heist collaborator Eddie Murphy, who showed his support by bowing out of the Oscars alongside him, and Howard Stern, who defended him on radio, calling the backlash an act of hypocrisy.
What do you guys think about this? This is I have mixed thoughts, so I
Me
want to
too.
hear what you guys are thinking.
I get that it wasn't being used as a slur, but I think that the use of that word to mean anything negative is something that needs to stop in general.
Yeah, and being in a position of authority,
Right, and being somebody
being
who-
able to actually help.
Right. And it is strange to me that Jane would take the opportunity. I mean, obviously he shouldn't be condemned and never work again because that's ridiculous. I do think that it was right of him to step down. I don't know, he was on a whirlwind of bad press the week before he stepped down. That wasn't the only weird and nasty thing that Brett Ratner was saying that week.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's something that's obviously very personal to me, that specific word. And I think that if there were different quote words that no one can say that he had used instead, there would be a larger uproar. I think that
I'm trying to imagine if he
had used the N-word instead, I'd think that he would have been fired immediately and not even been asked to step down. So I think that there's different rules for that word, and I don't think there should be, because I think it's just as harmful. And I think that by showing that we let him say that word and people defend him, says that kids on the playground can call things gay and call people gay, and that's not a problem
Yeah.
either, and it's just a joke, and it's not, and it needs to be a word that isn't used in that way.
So do you think
anymore.
Jane Lynch should have said that instead, or do you think that
I think Jane Lynch is free to her opinion.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
kind of surprised that that's her opinion, being somebody who is gay. It surprises me.
Yeah, I think that as a comedian, though, I think that she's taken a lot of heat for things that she said before too, that offend somebody. Because a lot of what she was saying about it was how she said things that have come off as extremely offensive, that she never meant to offend anybody, and that she believes he clearly wasn't trying to offend anybody. But of course, what he said was wrong, which
Right.
I kind of agree with. I don't think he was saying it to be offensive, but I think, of course, it's offensive.
And I think that there's a difference. As a comedian, he wasn't doing a stand-up routine.
Yeah,
he was
yeah,
in a
it's true.
Q&A talking about how rehearsal is stupid and that people shouldn't rehearse, and likening that only gays rehearse and that you're queer if you rehearse. So there's
100%
there's
different.
like it's a completely different ball game than, you know.
I know. I just think that's why
I
she
understand
stood up for
her
him.
thing, but he wasn't doing stand up.
Yeah,
he wasn't trying to be funny.
Yeah,
I definitely agree with what you're saying. I get that he didn't mean it in an offensive way. However, just like what Billy was saying, I don't agree with that word being used in general. Just like I don't agree with anyone using, you know, the
N-word?
Yes, the N-word. Not even black people, and I used to use it all the time. And it wasn't until I met a friend of mine that pointed out that I shouldn't, because I'm just
giving other people license.
Yeah,
to use it too.
and I just keep using it regardless of how. It doesn't. The moment I say it, the moment someone else can say it, and then when they say it, someone else can say it, and it just keeps going. And the word just needs to die. It's a negative word, and it doesn't have a place here. And so I actually stopped using a mechanic because he used the word that Brett used, and now I have to pay $350 tomorrow to get an oil leak fixed because that dude usually did all my work. But when he said it, he had no idea that I myself was gay, but it doesn't matter if he knew or not.
Yeah.
I didn't agree with him saying it, and so I don't use it anymore.
And I do agree with you that I do know some gay people who use those words, and it's sort of like, you know, taking the word back and making it ours. And I understand that sort of thing, but it still gives, by you making it sort of an okay word, then it makes it okay for anyone to say it. And it just should be a word that we stop saying. It should be. There's some words
unless in the proper context, because it actually is a word.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But not to be used as a pejorative. It's you know, use it contextually properly, or don't use it at all.
Okay. Yeah. Yep.
So people reported that things apparently got flirty between Corey Monteith and Lauren at the Roosevelt Hotel in Hollywood over the weekend, where they chatted each other up apparently in plain sight.
That's Lauren Conrad, LC, and Corey is Finn.
Oh, okay.
So, I don't know what I think about that.
I'm not
no opinion.
I don't know what I think about Corey.
Yeah.
In general, so I don't really know what I think about them. He's just such a little baby face, and she's such like a woman.
Yeah. I mean, he is older. He is like 28 or something.
I know, but he's a little baby face.
He is, and I just
I don't know. After tonight, all I can think about is Billy talking about his face when he sings. So that's all that's in my head.
Looks constipated. Was that the term?
Yes, that was the term I used. He does look like he needs to have some prunes.
And that was all I saw today. Every time he was singing, I just heard Billy's comment in my head. I was just like, oh,
I just wanted to let loose. Just like, if you can't do anything else while you're singing, if you can't sing with emotion, sing with a smile.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know?
Well,
that's what they always told me when I used to dance. It's like, if you can't make your facial expression, not to me, but to the group, you can't like have emotion on your face and smile, because it looks awkward when you're like, I'm trying so hard.
Yeah, they used to tell us that. I had someone that told me the exact same thing, because I would step and they would just be like, "Well, why don't you just try smiling? Just don't look so hard and weird. Just smile."
Yeah. It is. It's just clearly they're trying, because we do know they lip sync when they record those scenes. That the music is recorded in a studio, and so it's obviously his attempt to portray that he's actually singing in the scene, but it just looks too much.
Yeah,
it's too much for me.
Too much.
Sorry, Corey.
Sorry.
Still love you.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, someone we all love, Heather Morris, talks about how losing her father at the age of 14 affected her life.
Oh.
She says, "It made me grow up in a different way. My mom and I are really close because of it. So I'm glad I have a good relationship with her. But I definitely went through a lot of phases. At times, I didn't care at all, and I went to school in my pajamas and cried. But then I cut it out, and I focused on my dancing. I was in dance class all the time."
Okay, when you guys use their real names, I have no idea who you're talking about.
Brittany,
okay.
I'm going to get you a little cheat sheet, baby.
Yeah,
no, I only like them in Glee. I don't like them outside.
I know what you mean. But so this was in 17 Magazine's November issue, but I just caught wind of it, and I thought it was important to add into the news and gossip, because I feel like she's such a strong person, such a strong character, and we never really see a weaker side of her, because she's always using humor and
Britney's
is
role.
an unbelievable dancer, and artistically thinking about what that was like going for her at age 14 and having an artistic outlet is really important.
Yeah.
I thought so. That was
It lets
it was
you
just
channel.
interesting.
Yeah.
It lets you like channel your grief into something positive, rather than let it destroy you.
Yeah, exactly.
So I didn't know that. That's sad news. But it's great.
I know.
that
I was
she
going to say
used
it's
it
interesting, but interesting is such a bad word for that. Sad was
Yeah.
way better
I mean,
choice of
it
words.
seems like time has passed as she's healed, so it's not sad any longer. I mean, it's still sad she doesn't have a father. But yeah, it is inspiring too that she was able to turn that trauma into something that made her great, and she used that as a positive thing. She allowed herself to grieve, but then channeled it into something
It
that
was
was
lucky
positive.
for us because
Yes.
now we get to watch the brilliant artist.
And it's another pro for the arts, because another way to allow a teenager to express themselves.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
to not be overwhelmed. by
We're getting
grief.
really deep in this news and
This
gossip.
really
I know.
has been.
We, like, oh my god, yeah, we need some like
Spoiler alert!
Some
something
levity.
crazy in
Spoiler
here.
alert.
Jesus.
I know.
Spoiler alert!
All right, so it sounds like someone will be having themselves a merry little Christmas with some engagement-scented bling. We discovered a little Season 3 scoopage involving someone at McKinley High taking a trip to Zales for a jewelry purchase,
What?
which is said to go down in Episode 9, also known the Christmas Glee episode. Could the Zales sale mean that Finn is buying Rachel another cutesy piece of jewelry she'll cherish forever? Or possibly Puck embarrassingly proposing to Shelby?
That's where I went.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Me too.
I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know, but that's a good one.
That is a
Yeah.
good one.
Maybe we'll hear something else about it.
Well,
Yeah.
we do have another spoiler alert.
Ooh.
Rachel Berry will do something completely out of character for the sake of one of her friends. Rachel will be suspended after she decides to stuff the ballot box in favor of Kurt Hummel, her
Oh,
former
no.
opponent in the race for president. These actions will not go unpunished. She'll be subsequently suspended, resulting in her inability to compete at sectionals.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
that's a big
that's
one.
a huge one. First of all, she better not get Kurt kicked out
That's
of the
what
race.
I was thinking
Yeah.
too. Is
And
how is it going
second
to
of
affect
all,
him?
Maybe then they'll join together as the groups again, and for sectionals they can win, and Santana and Mercedes can both have solos or something.
No.
No,
No, it's too soon. Too soon.
Oh, too soon.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe not. I don't know. That brings us to predictions then. Okay.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Okay, so we were given a little bit with the scenes from next week. I was like trying to jot them down as they were flashing across the screen. We've got Jane Lynch hooking up with the coach or out to dinner with the coach.
The recruiter.
The recruiter coach, I mean?
That
Yeah,
made
I
me
keep calling him
sad,
coach.
and I'm really afraid of
I
what
think
that
we,
is.
Yeah.
I think it was editing and something was cut and they
Yes.
I don't think
it
it's
has
going
to
to
be.
be.
Yeah, they can't be because that would suck.
Yeah.
We want Coach Beast to be
be
as
ha-
happy as possible.
Yes.
And yeah, we're all on the same page there. We see I Kissed a Girl.
Yeah.
Yep.
Super excited.
Can't
about that
wait.
one.
Love that song. Puck telling Quinn about Shelby.
Or possibly.
Yes,
All he
right.
says is you can't tell anybody. So whatever he's going to say, we don't know. But
After-
obviously that was alluding to.
Yeah, and previously that episode, we see Shelby calls Puck and was like, I didn't have anybody else to call. What's going on here? Are they hooking up? Is he going to tell her? What's the situation?
I am so afraid if he does.
yes,
because
it can't
if he,
happen.
I mean, honestly, that's the way to end this and have
It's going to happen.
them
It's
merge
gotta
back
happen.
together. Is Quinn finds out and tells him Shelby has to leave, and then the two groups have to come back as one because they have no coach.
I don't know. Wait, why was Puck holding Quinn in bed?
Yeah,
Was that romantic? Was that platonic? What's going on?
He could be comforting her about something.
Yeah, it didn't seem particularly
possible.
sexual to me.
Yeah.
Especially because she is now on her new reborn virgin route
yeah.
or something. I don't know. We've got a lot to look forward to, but not for next week.
I know.
No,
2
I know.
weeks.
2 weeks.
What the hell? I like wish that Thanksgiving wouldn't happen so that we could have shows.
I know.
Is that
Agreed.
wrong? I love TV more than I love being with my family and eating turkey.
Well, I won't be with my family, so TV, I need you.
Yeah, seriously. You can just watch reruns. Let us know how it goes.
While you eat your turkey.
Well, I eat my turkey. Actually, I'm more of a pumpkin bread kind of girl.
Sweet potato pie for me.
Well, on that note, then I guess happy Thanksgiving to
Yeah.
everybody.
Yes,
'cause
happy
once you do get back, happy
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving. And join us in 2 weeks for some more Glee. Hope we made you a little happier by loving this episode. Let us know.
From producers Kevin Undergaro and Phil Svitek, engineer DJ Jesse Janity, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. If you have questions or comments, be sure to buzz us at info@AfterBuzzTV.com. And you can find us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter by searching for AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz
you
you
later.
later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.